At the tender age of 8, Emma Smith went to the Roseville Opera House to hear the famous orator and woman suffragist Susan B. Anthony. At the end of her speech, the women's rights advocate asked all those in favor of women's suffrage to rise. Emma was the only one to stand. "Everyone looked at me and laughed," she recalled. "I was embarrassed and red with the conspicuousness of it, and though my older sister was mortified to death and tugged at my skirt to make me sit down, I held my ground." Eventually, a few adults rose, and then Anthony said, "A little child shall lead them." Her prediction proved to be quite accurate. Emma became active in the suffrage movement later in her life, after she had married Henry DeVoe and moved to Dakota Territory. Her suffrage career reflected a feminine approach shaped by Anthony, who lived with the DeVoes during the 1890 campaign. The veteran activist encouraged Emma to avoid confrontational tactics, which alienated male voters, and to support the issue of suffrage and none other. Emma Smith DeVoe differentiated her efforts from those used by pioneer suffragists, who the press depicted as lunatics, cranks, or revolutionists. She patterned her actions from a suggestion of Frances Willard, president of the Women's Christian Temperance Union, whose adage was, "Womanliness first, afterward what you will." Emma and her associates sought the vote in a woman's way, for she believed, "We are womanly, and the more womanly we can be, the better for the cause." Throughout her career, she followed Willard's advice, who also emphasized the importance of singing a solo from some sweet woman's heart and voice. This would secure the support of listeners and soften their attitudes towards the controversial issue of suffrage. Before organizing suffrage clubs in South Dakota, her husband composed a song that was particularly popular with audiences across the West, called A Soldier's Tribute to Woman. Her sweet singing voice was a boon for the associations that employed her, and listeners readily donated to the cause because of her ability to sing the message of equality into their hearts. Others, like Reverend Olympia Brown, credited her success to the fact that she could always be trusted to please the audience and offend no one. Her feminine approach, a powerful method of persuasion, is illustrated in Winning the West for Women, the life of Emma Smith DeVoe. Her feminine tactics resulted in the enfranchisement of Washington women in 1910. This victory was an outstanding achievement. It was the first suffrage victory in 14 years, the first in the 20th century, and is Emma's legacy. For over 30 years, she worked with Eastern suffragists like Carrie Chapman Catt, Anna Howard Shaw, and Alice Paul. This biography reveals the real experiences of suffrage organizers who stumped for suffrage and the relationships between Eastern and Western suffragists as they struggled to work together to win the right to vote. In this new publication, for the first time, the significant role Emma and Western women played in securing the 19th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution is meticulously documented. But this book is about more than women's suffrage. Winning the West for Women reveals new information about women in party politics and their struggle to achieve equal representation within the Republican Party in the 1920s, as well as the continuities between women's political activism before and after the ratification of the 19th Amendment. The life of Emma Smith DeVoe is the insider story of 19th century women's political culture, the women's suffrage movement, and 1920 party politics.